talk Carlos Correa. Correa is the second best shortstop on the market. He had the opportunity to beat 12 years, 325 that Seager signed. Is that right? Or was it 10 years, 325? I
think
it was 10 for 325.
I think it was 10. 12 is aggressive. 12 is a lot.
So 10 for 325 for Corey Seager with Texas. He had the chance to beat that. He had the chance to get close to the 340, 341 mark that Tatis and Lindor set respectively. He did sign the 1+1+1 deal with Minnesota. He opted out after 1 year. He had a great year, but it wasn't the year that was going to make him a $330 million man. The question is he still that $330 million man, or is he a $270 million man? What do you think?
You know, Carlos Correa is a very, very good player. Like, he is deserving of one of the bigger contracts in Major League Baseball. And he's been pretty durable over the past 3 years. He played 58 games in that shortened season. Of course, it was only 60 games. Then he played 148. Then he played 136 games. So, but the reason, like, for example, Keith Law came out with his top 20 free agents, and Carlos Correa is ranked number 1. And he ranked Judge a little bit lower on those rankings due to durability concerns with Judge, but I guess he didn't have those same concerns with Carlos Correa. Like, may I remind you that in 2017, he played 109 games. 2018, he played 110 games. 2019, he played 75 games. Like, he is not Iron Man, right? He is not. But at the same time, Carlos Correa, in terms of the OPS plus department, went 131 in 2021, then 140 in 2022. Granted, it was in less games, but the power was still there. And although the defensive metrics were down, like, I don't put a ton of stock into that. I still think Carlos Correa is one of the best overall defenders in our sport. And it was highlighted by a platinum glove in 2021.
In 21, that's the thing.
Exactly. But, like, what? Are we taking anything away from, like, did he lose a step? Like, I don't think that he did. Maybe the numbers would reflect that. And maybe I'm wrong for assuming going against numbers, but it's just, it didn't look like it. And, you know, maybe that's bad analysis, but I still view him as that incredible defender while putting up between a 130 to 140 OPS plus, and which makes him one of the best shortstops on the market. So if you're asking, do I think he's 270 million or 320 million or whatever that range is, I think he's in that range. And I think it's whatever team is willing to fork it over. But I wouldn't be afraid to give him $300 million. I wouldn't, because it's not only that Carlos Correa has now been successful year over year at this point, but when we look at the postseason, right? Like, in 6 years, over 16 series, first, he's been there, done that. He has an 850 OPS. Like, in wild card rounds, you know, he's been great. ALDS, like, all throughout everything, he has not only been a great hitter in the regular season, but when the going gets tough and the lights are shining brightest, Carlos Correa is not only as good. For example, so he has an 850 OPS, or 849, excuse me. I mean, it doesn't matter. In the postseason, and an 836 OPS over his career in the regular season. So he only gets better when the lights are shining. Like, he's about as safe, I think, especially, like, this year was important. Although he missed a couple more games, the offense was there. That's what I was afraid of. Remember when we were talking, like, who we think should get more money, Seager or Correa, last offseason? I just said I think that GMs are going to be more willing to give it to Seager because the bat has been so proven, where with Correa, he's had flashes of it. And in the postseason, we saw those flashes. But when you look at his regular season, like, seasons to date, it wasn't always there. But now back-to-back seasons of him being a fucking beast at the plate, how can you not give him $300 million? And that's what I wanted to see from him this year. And he did it. I think he did it.
The other thing about this year was it was another opportunity to prove durability. And instead, he further proved fragility, right? He didn't play close to a full season.
136. I mean, if you give me 130 games, like, I'm good with that. I
want a little bit more.
I want a little bit more too. I agree with you, but I guess I had more injury concerns with him. 136, like,
I'll take
those aren't as much.
I will take it. If it was 110, I think he would be docked a lot.
I agree.
But
Yeah, I agree.
136 is a fine number. I'm with
Yeah.
you. But yeah, so I have no idea if it docked or not. He is also a year older now. I am not sure how it'll go. Christian Crespo is one of our new writers at Just Baseball, and he kicked ass on this Correa write-up.
One more thing. He is a year older, but he's younger than a lot of these free agents on the market. Like he's younger than Dansby. He's younger than Trey.
Yes.
I think he's the youngest free agent on this.
He's 27.
He's 27 right now, but will be 28.
Okay. Yeah. So Christian has 8 years, 250 for Correa, and I like it. I do.
It. I think he's getting more. Though.
I could see 10 for 300, but I like 8 for 250 personally a bit more.
Yeah, me too. But I think he's going to get more. Like I think he's going to get 10 for 300.
He's got the Phillies as the top landing spot for Carlos Correa.
I mean, perfect. You're talking about that Philly energy too. Correa's got it. You need defense. Correa's got it. You need playoff success after that World Series run where the bats kind of went silent. Correa's got it. This is a match made in heaven for the Philadelphia Phillies. If I'm Dave Dombrowski, Brinks truck time. Bring Correa to Philly. I couldn't think of a better fit for that fucking douchebag. And that is as kind as I like that. I mean that in the most sincere, kind way possible. Like it's the good kind of tool, right? Confidence in yourself, me against the world. Like that douchebag gives off like a rude connotation. I mean it in the nicest way possible. Like this is a put the glove on and it fits perfectly. This is you wear size 12 shoes and you get that perfect fit, like a New Balance shoe or something. Correa to the Phillies makes all the sense in the world.
I'm with you. It makes all the sense in the world. And he does have that Philly asshole mentality that you kind of need to play for the Phillies. And, it's a lovable asshole. That's the thing. Like,
yeah,
Schwarber has always been a lovable asshole. Like, that is what he is. Castellanos is a lovable asshole. Mm-hmm. Bryce Harper is a lovable asshole. Carlos Correa fits that mold of lovable asshole. Yeah. And I'm a big fan of Correa to Philly. The other ones that he's got here are the Dodgers.
Yeah, it makes sense. The Dodgers. Yeah, I mean, it's just because the Dodgers have all the money in the world. And if they let go of Trey Turner, like Correa makes a ton of sense there too, because he's really, really good and the Dodgers have a lot of money.
How about Atlanta if Dansby walks? I don't know if Atlanta wants to commit that much money to a guy.
They have Vaughn Grissom. Like, I think if they're not going to give the money to Dansby, they're going to usher in Vaughn Grissom at shortstop.
I think so too. I think that's a fair assumption.
Yeah. And maybe I'm wrong. We've been wrong before, but that just seems most likely.
Christian's got Seattle as the dark horse. I kind of dig that, man.
I like Correa to Seattle much more than I like Bogaerts to Seattle, no doubt. Still young. By the time J-Rod is really in MVP form, which honestly could be next year, but it's still, I'm thinking like 24, 25 years old. That's when, you're still going to have 30, 31-year-old Carlos Correa. I think the move to Seattle makes a lot more sense than a Bogaerts move because they need a shortstop. Like they need a bona fide defensive-minded shortstop. He's very analytically driven. Like we've seen Carlos Correa bag on Derek Jeter because of the defensive run saved. I think he's the only MLB player who ever talks about that. Like that's a Dipoto move, right? A guy who buys into the analytics. That makes so much more sense to me.
Yeah, I could see it. But if I was a betting man, Correa to the Phillies. I like 8 years, 250 for Correa to the Phillies.
I love it too. Whatever the dollar amount is, Phillies.